Listen carefully. There are two people in this world who are meant to meet. But before they ever cross paths, something strange happens. They are separated, redirected, tested in completely different ways. They meet the wrong people. They go through heartbreak. They lose things they thought they needed. And they keep asking the same question. Why is nothing working out? But what if nothing was ever supposed to work out? What if every delay, every rejection, every closed door wasn't pushing you away from love, but preparing you for it? Because sometimes, before Allah brings two people together, He protects them from everything that could have destroyed them, even if it means breaking them first, even if it means making them wait, even if it means letting them feel lost, so they don't lose each other later. And the most powerful part? You could be living that phase right now. You could be in the middle of a story that hasn't revealed its meaning yet. But by the end of this video, you will start to see something differently. Not your pain, not your past, but your purpose. Because this is not just about love. This is about how Allah has been protecting you, long before you even knew what you were being protected for. Allah's plan starts before you even know. There is something most people never realize. They think their story begins the moment they meet someone important. They believe love starts when two people finally cross paths. But that's not where it begins. It begins long before that. Before the conversations, before the feelings, before the moment you even knew that person existed. Allah had already started writing something between you. Every delay you faced, every door that closed, every person who walked away from your life, none of it was random. You thought you were being rejected, but in reality, you were being protected. There were people you wanted so badly, people you prayed for, situations you thought were perfect for you, but somehow they slipped away, and it hurt. You questioned it. You replayed it in your mind again and again, wondering what went wrong. But what if nothing went wrong? What if Allah saw something you couldn't see? What if the very thing you were chasing was the very thing that could have broken you? Sometimes, what feels like a missed opportunity is actually a silent rescue. Allah doesn't just give, He also removes. And sometimes, His mercy is not in what He places in your life, but in what He keeps away from you. Think about the times you almost chose the wrong path, the moments you were about to make a decision, and something inside you held you back. You didn't understand it then, but now, when you look back, you realize how different your life could have been. That was not coincidence. That was protection. Allah was already shaping your path, already filtering your journey, already deciding who stays and who leaves, not just for you, but for the one you haven't even met yet. Because the truth is, you were never just being prepared for your own future. You were being prepared for someone else's peace. Every lesson you learned, every heartbreak you survived, every moment that forced you to grow, it wasn't just about making you stronger. It was about making you safe for the right person, and making the right person safe for you. Allah doesn't connect people randomly. He aligns them. He builds them separately, tests them differently, protects them individually, until the moment comes when both are ready. And when that moment arrives, it won't feel rushed. It won't feel forced. It will feel right. Because everything that didn't work out before was never meant to. It was simply clearing the way. So if you're in a place right now where nothing seems to be happening, where things feel delayed, where you're wondering why your story hasn't started yet, understand this: your story has already started. You're just in the part that no one talks about. The silent preparation, the unseen protection, the hidden alignment. And one day, you won't just look back and understand it. You'll be grateful for every single thing that didn't happen, because that's what saved you. Not every loss is a loss. There are moments in life that feel like endings, moments where something slips out of your hands, and no matter how hard you try to hold on, it's gone. A person leaves, a connection breaks, an opportunity disappears, and in that moment, it feels like loss, real loss. You feel it in your chest, you carry it in your thoughts, you question everything. Why did this happen? What did I do wrong? Why did something that felt so right fall apart? But here's the truth most people take years to understand. Not every loss is actually a loss. Some losses are protection in disguise, because what you see is not the full picture. You only see what you felt. You only see what you hoped for. You only see what you imagined your life could be. But Allah sees what it would have become. He sees the cracks you couldn't notice. He sees the pain that hadn't arrived yet. He sees the future that you were about to walk into, blindly, and sometimes out of His mercy. He removes something before it destroys you, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts, because the hardest losses are often the deepest forms of protection. Think about it. How many times have you looked back at something you once cried over and later realized it was never right for you? How many people once felt irreplaceable until time showed you they were temporary? How many situations felt like the end of your world until life proved they were just a turning point? At the time, you didn't understand. You only felt the pain. But now, you see the wisdom. And that's how Allah's plan works. He doesn't always explain in the moment. He lets time reveal what you couldn't accept before. Because if He showed you the full truth immediately, you wouldn't need faith. And faith is built in the unseen. Sometimes you lose people not because you're not good enough, but because they were not meant to stay. Sometimes doors close not because you failed, but because that path was never yours. And sometimes things fall apart, so something better can take its place. But better doesn't always mean easier. It means right. And what is right is not always what you wanted. It's what you needed. So when something leaves your life, don't rush to label it as loss. Pause. Reflect. Ask yourself, what if this was protection? What if Allah is removing what you are emotionally attached to, but spiritually not meant for? Because attachment can blind you. It can make you hold on to things that are slowly hurting you, just because you don't want to let go. But Allah is not limited by your attachment. He sees beyond it. And when He takes something away, it's never careless. It's precise. It's intentional. It's necessary, even if you don't see it yet. So instead of asking, why did I lose this? Start asking, what did this loss save me from? That question changes everything, because it shifts your focus from pain to purpose. And one day, you'll look back at something you once called a loss and realize it was one of the greatest protections of your life. Allah is protecting you from what you can't see. There is a reality most people struggle to accept. You are not in control of everything that shapes your life. You only see what is in front of you. You only understand what has already happened. You only judge based on what you feel in the moment. But beyond your sight, beyond your understanding, there are things unfolding that you will never fully see. And that is where Allah's protection exists. Because not every danger announces itself. Some dangers come disguised as opportunities. Some come hidden inside people you trust. Some come wrapped in things you once prayed for. And if Allah allowed everything you desired to enter your life, you wouldn't survive the consequences. There are paths you were ready to walk down, convinced they were right for you. There are people you were ready to commit to, believing they were everything you needed. There were decisions you almost made that felt completely justified in that moment. But something happened. A delay, a distraction, a sudden change, a door that closed without explanation, and it frustrated you. You didn't understand why things weren't working out. You questioned your worth. You thought maybe you weren't good enough, or maybe you were just unlucky. But what if that moment, the very thing that disappointed you, was actually saving you? Because Allah sees what you cannot. He sees intentions hidden behind smiles. He sees outcomes hidden behind choices. He sees consequences that are still far away, but already written. You judge based on appearance. Allah judges based on reality. And sometimes what looks good to you is dangerous for you. Sometimes what feels right to your heart is harmful to your soul. And that is why things don't always go your way. Not because you are being denied, but because you are being protected. There are people you never ended up with. Not because you weren't enough for them, but because they were never meant to be safe for you. There are situations you never stepped into, not because you missed your chance, but because that chance was never meant for you. And the truth is, if Allah showed you what He saved you from, you would never question His decisions again. You would never cry over what didn't happen. You would never chase what left your life. You would never doubt a delay, because you would see clearly that every closed door was a shield. Every unanswered prayer was a form of mercy. Every redirection was a rescue. But Allah doesn't show you everything, because your test is not just in what you receive, it's in how you respond to what you don't receive. Do you trust Him when it doesn't make sense? Do you believe in His wisdom when your heart feels confused? Do you accept that His vision is greater than yours, even when your emotions are telling you otherwise? That is where true faith is built. Not when everything is going your way, but when nothing is clear and you still choose to trust. There will be moments in your life where you will feel stuck. Moments where you will think nothing is moving forward. Moments where you will feel like you are being left behind. But in reality, you are being held back for a reason, because what is ahead of you is not ready for you yet. Or maybe you are not ready for it. And rushing into something unprepared can destroy what was meant to be beautiful. So Allah slows you down. He blocks certain paths. He removes certain people. He delays certain outcomes, not to punish you, but to protect you from a version of your life that would have broken you. You may never know the full extent of what you were saved from. You may never see the conversations that happened behind your back. You may never discover the intentions that were hidden from you. You may never realize how close you were to making a decision that could have changed your life in the worst way. But just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it wasn't real. And just because you didn't understand it doesn't mean it wasn't necessary. So the next time something doesn't go your way, pause. Instead of reacting with frustration, respond with reflection. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is Allah protecting me from?" Because that question opens a different perspective, a deeper one, a more truthful one. And slowly, it replaces anxiety with trust, because you begin to realize you are not being ignored, you are being guided. You are not being rejected, you are being redirected. You are not being held back. You are being protected from what you cannot see. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day you will look back at something that didn't happen, and instead of feeling regret, you will feel relief, because you will finally understand that what didn't enter your life was never meant to survive in it, and what is truly meant for you will never pass you by. Your choices were guided. There are moments in your life that feel like they were entirely your decision. You chose to walk away. You chose to stay silent. You chose not to go somewhere. You chose not to reply. You chose to change direction, suddenly, without fully understanding why. At the time, it felt like your own thinking, your own judgment, your own instinct. But what if it wasn't just you? What if, in those quiet moments, your heart was being guided? Because not every decision you make comes purely from your own understanding. Sometimes, Allah places something inside you, a feeling you can't explain, a hesitation that doesn't make sense, a discomfort that appears out of nowhere, and it changes everything. You walk away from something you once wanted. You lose interest in something that once mattered. You feel blocked from a path you were ready to take, and it confuses you, because logically, it doesn't add up. Everything seemed right. Everything seemed aligned. Everything seemed like it should work. But deep inside, something wasn't settling, and you listened. Or maybe you were forced to listen. Because sometimes guidance doesn't come gently. Sometimes it comes through discomfort, through things not working out, through doors closing unexpectedly, through plans falling apart at the last second. And in those moments, you feel frustrated. You think you're losing control. You think things are going wrong. But what if things are actually being corrected? Because Allah doesn't just guide you through clear signs. He also guides you by changing your direction without explaining the full reason. There are choices you made that saved you, and you didn't even realize it. The message you didn't send, the place you didn't go, the person you slowly distanced yourself from. At the time, it felt small, but in reality, it changed your entire path. Because one decision can lead to a completely different future, and Allah knows exactly which path leads to peace and which one leads to pain. So He intervenes, not always in a way you can see, but in a way you can feel. A shift in your heart, a loss of excitement, a sudden clarity after confusion. These are not accidents. This is guidance. But here's the part most people miss. Guidance doesn't always feel comfortable. Sometimes it pulls you away from what you desire. Sometimes it forces you to let go of what you're attached to. Sometimes it makes you question yourself, because your desires and what is truly good for you are not always the same thing. And that is where trust becomes necessary. Because when your heart is being redirected, you have two choices. You can resist it and chase what feels good in the moment, or you can trust it and follow where you are being led, even if you don't understand it yet. Because one path is driven by emotion, the other is protected by wisdom. Think about the times you ignored that inner feeling, the times you went against your instinct, the times you forced something to work, even when everything inside you was telling you not to. What happened? It didn't bring peace. It brought confusion. It brought regret. It made things more complicated than they needed to be. And that's because when you go against guidance, you step outside of protection. But when you follow it, even blindly, even unsure, you stay within the path that Allah is shaping for you. A path that is not just about reaching a destination, but about arriving safely. Because the goal is not just to get what you want. The goal is to get what is right for you, without losing yourself in the process. So the next time you feel that hesitation, that unexplained pause, that quiet voice inside you telling you to step back, don't ignore it. Don't rush past it. Don't silence it just because it doesn't match what you want. Because that might be the very moment Allah is guiding you away from something harmful and closer to something meant for you. Not everything that feels good is meant to stay. And not everything that feels confusing is wrong. Sometimes, confusion is just the beginning of clarity, and redirection is the beginning of protection. You may not always recognize it in the moment, but one day, you'll look back at the decisions you almost made, and the ones you didn't, and you'll realize something powerful. You were never navigating your life alone. Even in your most uncertain moments, you were being guided, quietly, precisely, perfectly. toward a path that was written for you, long before you even understood it. The right person is also being protected. There is a thought that rarely crosses the mind. When you are waiting for the right person, you assume the story is only about you, your patience, your healing, your journey. You think you are the one being prepared. But what you don't realize is, there is another story unfolding. At the same time, someone, somewhere, is also being shaped, also being tested, also being protected for you. And just like you, they don't fully understand what's happening either. They've had their own moments of confusion, their own heartbreaks, their own unanswered questions. They've trusted the wrong people. They've faced disappointment. They've walked away from things they once believed in. And just like you, they wondered why. Why did things not work out? Why did something that felt right fall apart? Why does life feel like it's delaying everything that matters? But what they didn't see was that every experience was preparing them. Every mistake was teaching them. Every loss was protecting them. Every delay was aligning them, not just for their own future, but for yours. Because the truth is, if you had met the right person too early, it wouldn't have worked. Not because they were wrong for you, but because you weren't ready for each other. Timing is not just about when you meet. It's about who you both are when you meet. Because two good people can still fail together if they meet at the wrong time. Imagine meeting someone who is meant for you, but you are still carrying pain you haven't healed from. You react based on fear. You misunderstand based on past wounds. You push them away without realizing it. Or maybe they are not ready yet. Maybe they are still learning lessons, still growing, still becoming the person they need to be. And if you met them in that state, they wouldn't be able to give you what you deserve. Not because they don't care, but because they are not complete yet. So, Allah protects both of you by keeping you apart, even when you don't want to be apart, even when it feels like something is missing, even when you feel ready. Allah knows the full picture. He knows the version of you that still needs to grow, and He knows the version of them that is still being built. So He delays, not to deny you, but to perfect what is coming to you, because what is written for you is not just about meeting someone, it's about meeting them in the right condition, where both of you can give without breaking each other, where both of you can understand without hurting each other, where both of you can build without destroying what you've created. That kind of connection does not come from rushing, it comes from preparation. And preparation takes time. Sometimes, a lot of time. There will be nights when you feel alone, moments where you question why nothing is happening, times when you see others moving forward, while you feel stuck in the same place. And it will test you, because waiting is not easy. Waiting forces you to face yourself. It forces you to grow without immediate reward. It forces you to trust without clear answers. But here is the reality. You are not just waiting, you are being shaped, and so are they. Every day that passes, you are becoming more patient, more understanding, more emotionally stable. You are learning how to communicate better, how to handle conflict, how to let go of ego. You are becoming someone who can sustain a healthy relationship, and somewhere they are going through their own process, becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming more aware. So when the time finally comes, you don't meet as two incomplete people trying to fix each other. You meet as two prepared individuals, ready to support each other. That is the difference. That is the wisdom behind the delay. Because Allah is not just protecting your heart from the wrong people, He is also protecting the right person from the wrong version of you, and protecting you from the wrong version of them, until both of you reach a point where the connection is not built on need, but on balance, not built on dependency, but on stability, not built on desperation, but on clarity. And when that moment arrives, it won't feel chaotic, it won't feel confusing, it will feel natural, calm, certain, because everything that didn't work before will finally make sense. All the people who left, all the opportunities that failed, all the times you felt delayed, will no longer feel like loss. They will feel like steps, steps that led you to this exact moment. And you will realize something powerful. Nothing was wasted. Not your pain, not your waiting, not your growth. It was all necessary, because the person you were becoming needed time. And the person meant for you also needed time. And Allah, in His perfect wisdom, protected both of you until the moment you were ready for each other. So, if you are still waiting, don't rush it. Don't force something that isn't aligned. Don't lower your standards just because you feel alone, because loneliness is temporary, but the wrong connection can leave permanent damage. Trust the process. Trust the delay. Trust that while you are being prepared, someone else is also being prepared for you. And when Allah finally brings you together, it won't feel like you found each other by chance. It will feel like you were always meant to arrive at that moment, at that time, in that exact way, because before you ever met, you were both being protected for each other. Timing is everything in Allah's plan. There is something deeply frustrating about waiting, not just waiting, but waiting without understanding. You pray, you hope, you try to be patient, but inside, there's a question that keeps coming back. Why is it not happening yet? You see others moving forward. You see people finding what you've been asking for. You see lives unfolding around you, while yours feels paused. And slowly, doubt begins to creep in. Did I miss my moment? Am I being left behind? Why does it feel like everything is delayed? But what if nothing is delayed? What if everything is happening exactly when it should? Because the truth most people struggle to accept is this: timing is not random, it is precise. And in Allah's plan, timing is everything. You don't just receive things because you want them, you receive them when you are ready for them. And when they are right for you, there is a difference. Because sometimes you are ready for something emotionally, but not ready for it spiritually. Sometimes you want something deeply, but it is not yet aligned with who you need to become. And if you were given it too early, you wouldn't be able to handle it. You might lose it. Or worse, you might destroy it. Think about it. How many times have you gotten something you once wanted, only to realize you weren't prepared for it? You didn't know how to manage it. You didn't know how to protect it. You didn't know how to keep it. And, eventually, it slipped away. Not because it wasn't meant for you, but because you received it before you were ready. This is why Allah delays. Not to punish you, but to protect what is meant for you. Because giving you something at the wrong time can be more harmful than not giving it at all. Imagine meeting the right person, but you are still insecure, still reactive, still carrying unresolved pain. That relationship would not bring peace. It would bring tension. You would misunderstand each other. You would hurt each other. You would slowly break something that could have been beautiful if it had come at the right time. So Allah waits. He lets you grow. He lets you experience life. He lets you learn things you don't even realize you're learning. Patience, self-control, emotional stability, trust. All the things that are invisible, but essential, because a strong connection is not built on feelings alone. It is built on readiness, and readiness takes time. There are also things happening that you cannot see. Situations being arranged, people being moved, paths being aligned, someone you haven't met yet. is living their life right now, going through their own tests, facing their own struggles, learning their own lessons. And just like you, they are not ready yet either. So, Allah is preparing both of you at the same time, separately, silently, until the moment arrives where everything aligns, where your growth meets their growth, where your readiness meets their readiness, where your lives intersect, not by chance, but by design. And when that moment comes, it will not feel forced. You will not have to chase it. You will not have to question it. It will flow naturally, because it came at the right time, not earlier, not later, exactly when it was meant to. But here is the challenge. Waiting tests your trust, because when you don't see progress, you start to doubt the process. You start to think nothing is happening. You start to believe you are being forgotten. But just because something is not visible does not mean it is not real. Growth is often invisible. Preparation is often silent. Alignment is often hidden. And the most important parts of your life are being built in moments where you feel like nothing is changing. This is where most people make a mistake. They rush. They settle. They force something to happen because they are tired of waiting. And in doing so, they step outside of what was meant for them, because impatience can push you into the wrong timing, and wrong timing can turn the right thing into the wrong experience. So, instead of forcing things, learn to trust the delay, because delay is not denial. Delay is refinement. It is Allah shaping you until you are able to receive what you are asking for without losing it. And sometimes, delay is protection from your own impatience, because what you want right now may not be what is best for you right now. And Allah knows the difference. That is why He doesn't always respond immediately. He responds perfectly, at the right moment, in the right way, for the right reasons. So when you feel like your life is not moving, remind yourself, it is moving, just not in the way you expected, and not on your timeline, but on a timeline that is far more precise, far more wise, far more complete, because Allah sees the beginning, the middle, and the end, all at once, and you only see what is in front of you. So trust Him, even when the waiting feels heavy, even when the silence feels long, even when nothing seems to be changing, because one day the timing will make sense. And when it does, you will not just be grateful for what you received, you will be grateful for when you received it, because you will realize, if it had come any earlier, you would not have been able to hold on to it, and if it had come any later, you would not have needed it, but it came exactly when it was supposed to. And that is the beauty of Allah's timing. It is never early, it is never late, it is always right. Trust Allah. Even when you don't understand, there comes a point in life where logic is no longer enough, where explanations don't satisfy you, where answers don't arrive, where everything feels unclear, uncertain, unfinished. And in that space, you are left with one thing: trust. Not the kind of trust that comes easily, but the kind that is tested, the kind that is built in silence. Because it's easy to trust when everything is going your way, when doors are opening, when prayers are being answered, when life feels smooth. But what about when nothing makes sense? What about when things fall apart? What about when you pray and nothing changes? That's where real trust begins. Because trusting Allah is not about understanding everything. It's about believing, even when you don't. It's about holding on. When everything inside you wants to let go, there will be moments where you will feel lost. Moments where you question the direction of your life. Moments where you wonder if things will ever come together. And in those moments, your mind will search for control. It will try to figure everything out. It will try to predict what happens next. It will try to make sense of the chaos. But not everything is meant to be understood immediately. Some things are meant to be trusted first and understood later. Because if you were given every answer right now, there would be no need for faith. And faith is what connects you to something greater than your circumstances. Think about everything you've been through. The pain, the confusion, the delays. At the time, it didn't make sense. You didn't understand why it was happening. You felt overwhelmed. You felt uncertain. You felt like things were slipping out of your control. But somehow, you made it through, step by step, day by day. And now, when you look back, you see things differently. You see how certain moments shaped you, how certain struggles strengthened you, how certain endings led to new beginnings. You didn't see it then, but you see it now. And that's the pattern of trust. You trust first. Then you understand, not the other way around. But here's where it gets difficult, because in the present moment, you are still in the middle of the story. You don't have the full picture yet. You don't know how things will unfold, and that uncertainty can feel heavy. It can make you restless. It can make you anxious. It can make you question everything. But what if this uncertainty is not something to fear? What if it's something to lean into? Because uncertainty is where trust lives. If everything was clear, there would be nothing to trust. So when you don't understand what's happening, instead of resisting it, accept it, not as defeat, but as part of the process, because Allah's plan does not require your full understanding. It requires your trust. And trust does not mean you stop feeling. It does not mean you stop questioning. It means that even with those feelings, you choose to believe. You choose to believe that there is wisdom behind the delay, that there is purpose behind the pain, that there is protection behind what didn't happen, even if you can't see it yet, because Allah's knowledge is not limited. He sees what you don't see. He knows what you don't know. He understands what you cannot comprehend. And His decisions are not based on your temporary emotions. They are based on a complete and perfect understanding of your life. So when something doesn't go your way, it's not a mistake. When something is delayed, it's not forgotten. When something leaves your life, it's not random. It's all part of something bigger, something that you are not fully aware of yet. But one day, you will be. There will come a moment where everything connects, where everything makes sense, where you look back at your life and see how every piece fit together perfectly. The delays, the detours, the disappointments, they were not obstacles. They were directions. They were guiding you to where you were always meant to be. And in that moment, you won't feel confused anymore. You won't feel frustrated anymore. You will feel clarity. You will feel peace. Because you will realize that even when you didn't understand, everything was still under control. Not your control, but Allah's. And that is the most powerful realization of all, because it frees you. It frees you from overthinking every outcome. It frees you from trying to control every situation. It frees you from the pressure of having everything figured out, because you don't have to. You just have to trust. Trust that what is meant for you will reach you. Trust that what left your life was never meant to stay. Trust that what is delayed is being perfected. And trust that what you don't understand today will one day become clear. So if you are in a moment right now where nothing makes sense, where you feel uncertain, where you feel like you are waiting without answers, hold on, not to your plans, but to your trust. Because even in this moment, even in this confusion, even in this silence, Allah is working quietly, perfectly, completely. And one day, you will look back, and instead of asking, "Why did this happen?" you will say, "Alhamdulillah, it happened exactly the way it was meant to." because that's what trust does. It turns confusion into clarity. It turns pain into meaning. It turns waiting into peace. And it reminds you that even when you don't understand, you are still exactly where you need to be. So the next time you feel like your life doesn't make sense, when things don't work out, when people walk away, when everything feels delayed, don't rush to call it a loss. Pause it, because maybe, just maybe, Allah is protecting something in your future that you cannot see yet. Maybe every closed door was saving you from the wrong path. Maybe every heartbreak was preparing your heart for the right one. And maybe the person meant for you is being protected, just like you are. So, trust the process. Even when it's silent, even when it's slow, even when it hurts. Because what is written for you will never miss you. And what misses you was never meant to be yours. One day, everything that feels confusing right now will come together in a way that finally makes sense. And when that moment comes, you won't just be grateful for what you received. You'll be grateful for everything that didn't happen, because that's what saved you. If this message reached you at the right time, then it wasn't random. Share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And remember, before love, Allah is already working